In navigating the new energy, there are going to be some really traumatic things happening on the planet. And we could look at it through our lens of 3D, which, oh my God, you look at your experience and say, this is terrible. Oh my God, what kind of God would allow this? And you have this kind of conversation. But that's only because you're thinking like a human. But if you think like a soul connected to source, you see it from another perspective. And the perspective is that we are souls incarnated in this physical body to experience polarity and experiences. And the soul comes down purposely to experience the karma of whatever that is, knowing that it's coming down for a while and eventually will transition, not die, but transition and continue their soul life, right? But because we've been so stuck in this matrix of 3D, and taught all this stuff about heaven and hell, and God is going to punish you, and all this stuff that's, as far as I see in my life, it's a phantom. It's just man-made control, dogmatic teaching to keep you in fear base. In reality, you have God power inside of you. It's inside of you. And the reason we have all this judgment and all this other stuff going on the planet is because people have fear of something they don't understand. That's why a bunch of souls have incarnated to be trans, because they're teaching the world that this soul, this God source, can stand and be different. And they're carrying the cross to teach the world that it can be different. If you look at the indigenous cultures of the world that are thousands and thousands of years old, before the Spanish and the Europeans came in and conquered them and killed them off and did all the atrocities that they did to the Native Americans, or native in general, of the planet, before they ever came and forced and take their gold and did all that disgusting stuff and change history, and all that stuff is coming out. Androgynous beings were revered in those cultures. They were the shamans, they were the priestess in those cultures. Is the thinking of religion that was created, the Christ consciousness when Christ came in 2,000 years ago, but in the year 135 in Concilia de Nicea, the emperor made Christianity the religion of the state, and they threw out books of the Bible, and they packaged it in a way so they can control the masses, and it became a big governmental machine. If you go to the Vatican today, it's all gold and ornaments, and it has nothing to do with God's love. It's, and in the archives they've stolen from indigenous people. They have artifacts, and they're gazillionaires, and they stole and pillaged these people in the name of God. It was disgusting. So the truth is coming out on the planet. The way things are working now in the world is going to be challenging, because things are changing, and it's hard to see in your 3D mind and the way you've been raised, because the world is changing. It cannot stand the way, there's so much light coming into the planet, it cannot stand the way it is. It cannot continue the way it is. The governments are going to be falling apart. This is what I feel. And a lot of this information I hear, and a lot of it I get in my meditations daily, and I get downloads daily of this stuff. And if you think, well, how do I know these things? Well, my background, my whole life has been half spiritual, half physical. At the age of 3, I started seeing spirits. I didn't have parents. I had parents. I didn't have a mother and father. My mother left me in the hospital, and my family was able to get together and hand me over to my great aunt, my grandmother's sister, to watch me, and then she kept me. And then at 3 years old, she fell apart with diabetes, and my whole childhood was taking care of her. And I didn't know any better, but at 3 years old, I started seeing spirits. And from that point forward, spirit, the voice was always guiding me in my life, because I didn't have a father or mother to guide me and help me. So I lived in the projects in New York City, Puerto Rican, a white Puerto Rican no less, in a black and Puerto Rican neighborhood. So I experienced discrimination on the physical plane because I was too white for the neighborhood. I used to get beat up all the time and go through those challenges. And then in my own head, I had spirits talking to me all the time. And I see spirits, and I go to grown-ups, and no one could help me. And I grew up with this, but this gift, or this curse and a gift, helped me grow up. It helped me create magic in my life, where at a young age I was able to. I grew up young. I grew up at 14. I was already a man. I was already working, and at 16 I joined a spiritual school where I learned how to channel and read people, and that helped me navigate the world. At age 20, I was in a business for myself already, making money. And it's all because I had magical moments in my life, because the spiritual conduit was able to guide and give me insights on how to do the impossible if you look at it through a 3D lens. I bought my first house at 26, and people said I was crazy. It's impossible. They will laugh at me. And I did it because I believed it, and Spirit said I can do it, and I did things that I was actually told not to do. I moved to California at 30. My family told me I was nuts. I was well connected in New York with the unions and made a lot of money, and I sold everything with my wife and my first child and moved to California not knowing what to do, but I felt it in my heart that there was the next step to do, and I did it. And people ridiculed me. I was going to fall into the ocean. We're going to die. California's going to fall off, and all this other nonsense. And I made a great life for my family compared to and the pain and being in poverty and all the abuse that I took. In the neighborhoods I grew up in, the South Bronx, in the projects, if we left the neighborhood into the so-called white areas, we used to get chased back. I had black brothers and friends that used to get beat up if they went into the other neighborhoods. So if you came from the other side, you weren't allowed to go over there. It was a dark, heavy world back at that time. That's why I believe so strongly in my intuition and my spirituality. And I'm getting at a point in my life that I've been told that I have to do these videos. My family's been after me for years to create videos. And I was neglected. I didn't want to do it because I don't want to have the confrontation with everybody here judging me. This is my human self. But I think I have a message for some people. Not for everybody. You may not agree with what I got to say, and that's okay. I really don't care anymore. Yesterday morning, Spirit told me that I have so many days to live on this planet. And I told that to my wife. She says, "Oh my God, you got to stop speaking that way." Well, I don't mean that I'm going to die tomorrow. The message was, I'm 66 years old. I have so many days to live on this planet. It could be 30 years. It could be 10 years. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to make the best of those 30 of that time, doing every day I can to bring out some kind of message that if someone wants to listen to me speak and they can learn from it, fantastic. If those of you who hear what I got to say don't like it, that's okay too, because it's not one size fits all. You got to find what works for you. And if you want to stay in the 3D and suffer and go through, because man, things are going to get rough. There's going to be a mass exodus. There's going to be earthquakes, more floods. There's going to be some heavy crap going down in the next few years. The government, there's going to be a lot of, you already see it, it's happening. There's going to be some major challenges going on. And I believe that if you learn how to master your emotions and stay neutral and don't allow anybody to shake your tree and plug into your source, your God source, because we are part of source. We are a little fraction of the source that comes into the physical body to experience life. If you allow yourself to get there and understand what that is for you, because everybody is different, that stream of information, that intuitive information will help you make the right decision and you pick up your frequency so you can co-create a life that works for you. That's why the energy is moving fast. If you notice, time is moving really fast and it's going to get faster. That means you wake up And before we know it, right now it's March 28th. Before we know it, it's gonna be Christmas. Before we know it, I'll be 70. It's gonna go so fast that if you're so busy worrying about what the government's gonna do for you, and you're looking for someone outside yourself to take care of you, forget it. You can see what's happening. You gotta take care of yourself. So unite in love with your family members. Be kind to people. Have some compassion for people when you go out and go shopping and do whatever you do. Go out with love. Carry that energy, and whatever you put out is what you're gonna get. That's what's gonna come into your life, and you'll be able to navigate the challenges that are gonna come. They're gonna be big ones, like COVID. There's gonna be major things coming down the pike. I feel that with every fiber of my being. So it's important. I did my last video was on just exercises and how to breathe and how to do meditation. What I do, find your own way, but find your way to pick up your frequency and pick up your love energy, especially for men. Try to soften up, try to put more compassion in your heart, try to find a way not to be so judgmental, and most of all, find a way to shut your mind off and stop beating yourself up and start loving yourself. Because if you can't be in love with yourself, if you can't love your arms, your legs, your fingers, take care of your body, take time to breathe, and be in a love state, then you're going to be always fighting with your past and all that information that tells you how life can be miserable. So I think that's the most important thing I can share today. The whole thing is just to be open enough to listen a little bit and find what works for you, because I don't want to be a guru. I'm just like everybody else going through life, and you may say, well, I don't have those abilities. I believe everybody does. You just got to take the time to figure out how you could integrate intuition. We all have it. You always get a hit somewhere. When you're walking around, you look at somebody, you could read them, and you say, oh, that guy, that's some dark energy. You ever walk into a restaurant or something and, man, it just feels funky in there, and you got to get out? We all have it. We see our family members, and we know when they're upset, and you can kind of read their minds and what's going on. So that's where it starts, and that's how you have to find a vehicle, take a class, read a book, and find a way how to build that up inside of you. And the way to do it is to be still, try to quiet your mind, and ask for help, because I believe that we carry an entourage of angels and guides around us that are there to help us. And if you don't ask for the help, you won't get it, right? Because you have free will, and they're not allowed. There's a universal rule. They're not allowed to get in the way unless you're going to do something really crazy and try to take your life ahead of time, and it's not time for you to go. Then they may intercede, but for the most part, they're waiting for everybody to ask for help. So first of all, love yourself, and once you fall in love with yourself, it'll be easier to love anybody around you, even your worst enemy, somebody that you may despise because they're creating havoc in the way you perceive the world. And those people are there to make the mess, so it could be, the way I see it, it could open it up and see all the dark crap that's inside there, so the truth can come out. That's why those people play those roles. That's what's going on. We all come down playing different roles. This is like a big play. You have a script coming in, and then when we all go back to heaven or back to space, we'll all go over our notes and see, oh shit, I created too much havoc. I was supposed to undo XYZ, and now I got to clean this up. So you reincarnate and do it again, and that's an ongoing circle, like constantly moving and happening. So I hope this helps, and I think I'll leave it at that. That's a lot of information. It's all popping in, but I hope you enjoy it. Again, if you have any questions, leave it. We'll answer as many as we can and get back to you. I'm also a Reiki master, and I do healing sessions, though anybody who's interested. Yeah, so hope all have a wonderful rest of your day or week, and I'll see you next time.